Okay, so hi everybody. Welcome to the first installment of the end of life planning that's gonna happen over the course of time through this video series. And I will say right up front, I am very tongue-tied today and I can't seem to get anything out of my mouth correctly. So just bear with me. I don't know. I don't know if I'm very eloquent normally, so this is gonna this is gonna be really maybe funny. So what we're gonna go over today is not the most exciting thing, that's for sure, but it's definitely probably the most important to have finished. And then we can get to the more creative things. But I want to make sure that we have these essentials in place before we go and do the more esoteric fun things. So the first thing, and there's an accompanying blog post to this that's going to have the links for you, that's going to have more of an explanation for you if you need more of an explanation. So when I go through this, just know that I have everything linked for you and you're going to be pointed in the right direction. So we're going to go over the advanced directive today. And what that means is it's kind of, advanced directive is an umbrella term. And it usually includes under that umbrella is the living will and the healthcare proxy. And sometimes it's the organ and tissue donation form. And so I just printed out New York State's healthcare proxy because that's where I am. So this is what it looks like. So it's the healthcare proxy and the living will. And it's about, how many pages is it? It's about 12 pages long. And the first few pages, though, just go over some of the questions that you may have. So the actual document itself is actually 6 pages. So it includes the healthcare proxy and the living will. Now, what a healthcare proxy is it's basically a legal document that basically says that you are appointing this particular person as a proxy to speak for you, speak on behalf of you, make medical decisions for you in case you are not able to make those decisions for yourself. So if you were unconscious, if you had dementia, if something happened, that healthcare proxy would step in and basically make the decisions, the healthcare decisions for you. So it's such an essential piece of documentation. Now, a lot of people think that you need it notarized. In most states, you do not need it notarized. So that's, I think, a huge issue that people tend to think that there's more to it than there is, or it's a lot harder to do than it is. So you basically designate one person, and then you have a backup person. In case that first person, for some reason, decides that they can't do it, or they themselves are unable or unfit to do it, that second person steps in. I would never suggest having a co-proxy, so 2 people healthcare proxy together. That basically leads to conflict. So it's one person does it, and then if that one person can't do it for whatever and they have to step down, that second person will step in. And it's either called a proxy or a healthcare agent. So the living will portion is, this is kind of going to inform your healthcare provider and your healthcare proxy what sort of medical interventions you would like or would not like. So for instance, cardiac resuscitation, mechanical respiration, so being on like a ventilator. If you want a feeding tube, if you want antibiotics. So it goes over stuff kind of on just very superficially, I will say. That's why the next thing that we're going to go over in, I guess, video 2 or video 3 will be a more beefed up living will, because this is very, very basic. And it's just going over your basic life-saving medical interventions. It doesn't go over your needs for emotional, spiritual health, anything like that. So we'll get into that the next video. But it does kind of cover relief from pain and other wishes, and organ donation it does go over. And let's see. So that's basically it. So what you want to do with this healthcare proxy is that you have to have, I think it's 2 people sign it. Yes, 2 witnesses, and they have to be over 18. They can't be one of your physicians or any healthcare personnel, unless it's somebody working outside that realm. So if I had a really good friend that was a nurse, they could sign off for me, but they can't be like my nurse. Same thing with a doctor. You can't have a doctor sign off for it. So it just has to be like 2 friends, 2 relatives. Those 2 witnesses also can't be your healthcare proxies. So it has to be a separate group of people. And you're going to want to make some photocopies of your healthcare proxy / living will. And what you're going to want to do with it is, of course, put 1 copy in your fancy new binder that you got, hopefully. And maybe you got sheet protectors, so just basically put your healthcare proxy right there in your first sheet protector. And also in your magnetic folder, put another copy and put it right on your refrigerator. Also, give one of these copies to your healthcare proxy, your first and second designated one. And you're going to also want to give a copy to your primary care physician, and also your local hospital. It would be good for them to have it on hand, because in case of an emergency, it would be really great. You're going to get sent right to the hospital. It would be great if they just had it on record for you. So also along in my blog post, and I'm also going to put the links down below in this video, I have information on how to start a conversation with your healthcare proxy, because it can be very awkward for some people to talk about death, or you might not know if that person wants that responsibility. So it's a really, really good step-by-step form on how to go about having this difficult conversation. And also I'm going to link the conversation projects form on how to choose a healthcare proxy. This is extremely important. You might have somebody in mind, a partner, a husband, wife, mother, father, but then as you're going through and you're really thinking about what you're looking for in a healthcare proxy, that may not be the best choice for you. This has got to be somebody that has to put their emotions and feelings aside, and they have to be willing to carry out your wishes, not their wishes, but yours. And they have to know that that choice is is not theirs. They have to not carry the guilt. They are actually going through with your wishes, carrying out your wishes, and they have to have no guilt when it comes to that. So it might be the best person might be your next door neighbor or a really good friend or just somebody that you know that could be objective and won't bring too many emotions or feelings into this. It's a really a horrible thing to have to think about, but you're going to want somebody that's really good at asking questions. For example, if they don't really understand what the doctor's saying to them or the doctor's using too much medical jargon, they need to say, wait, back up. Could you please explain this to me again? And because that's the person that's going to be making these informed decisions for you. So they have to be really kind of willing to put themselves out there, be kind of aggressive when it comes to your health care, asking the questions, and not just sort of fading into the background. You want somebody that's really going to advocate for you. So let me see if they have any other. This instruction manual that I have linked is so good from the Conversation Project. It really, really is good. It also goes over frequently asked questions, like what if you don't want to pick a family member? What if you don't want to pick a spouse or partner? Are there any rules? Who cannot be my legal proxy? What if you want to change your proxy? Now that I can easily go over with you. If you want to change your healthcare proxy, it's simple. All you have to do is basically get rid of your previous copy. So shred them all and just make a new one. So get rid of all the old copies, shred them, destroy them, and just fill out a brand new one with a new date. And so that will be your current copy. So it's not that hard to do. And also this Conversation Project manual that I'm linking to has a notice to your healthcare provider. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to send in my healthcare proxy to my healthcare provider and to my local ER, or my local hospital. And I'm just going to put this document with it so that tells them basically where my original is located and who my healthcare proxy is, who I am. So basically they can link this sheet up with my healthcare proxy and they know who I am and they'll put it right in my form or right in my folder. So I think that's pretty much it. Like I said, this isn't the most exciting thing, but if you can get the living will, healthcare proxy, organ donation taken care of, that is a huge, huge step, because if something happens, you are pretty much covered in an emergency, and that's great. I mean, that's some peace of mind that we all could use. So go out, have some tough conversations, figure out who your designated healthcare agent is going to be. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below or email me. But I think all of the forms that I linked will help you out a lot as far as answering a lot of those questions. Also, I put the link in to your specific advanced directive for your state because it varies state to state. So your advanced directive might look different to mine. The one I held up, it might not look anything like the New York State one if you live in Florida or Colorado or California. But I put links in there so that you can get yours for your state, because they do vary. All right, so I think that's it. Next time, we're going to get into more of a beefed up living will, a more robust living will that's going to go over not just, if you want CPR or a feeding tube, but it's going to go into, your emotional, spiritual needs, your personal needs. So that way it will help drive your healthcare decisions even further, and it'll help your healthcare proxy out a lot, because they can just refer to that living will, the more robust version, and it will really help them to make those harder decisions, because it'll be all laid out there for them. And it'll be a guilt-free thing, because they know that they're going through with your wishes. All right, so take care. Get in touch with me if you have any questions. And as soon as we get over kind of this kind of not so fun paperwork hump, then we'll get a little bit more creative. All right, thank you. Bye.